Welcome back. I'm Pat, that Halloween movie collector, and we're back with another 10 favorite albums from a year in the 1970s. Last episode, we started with 1970. This episode, we're going to do 1971, and so many great albums in this year, just like 1970. It was not that easy to whittle it down to 10. And it's very, well, a lot of them are the more popular ones that you're going to recognize, that are you're always going to hear on classic rock radio stations. They had to be there because they're some of my favorite music of all time. And maybe one or two curveballs, just like last time, because I said I like everything. Very eclectic, that's the word I keep using, eclectic taste in music. So, without further ado, let's start from number 10. Number 10, I love me some jazz fusion. And one band that I was introduced to probably the mid-'80s, just fell in love with them, Weather Report. So Weather Report released their first album in 1971. Weather Report, May 12th, 1971. Now, I know some people either like or don't like jazz fusion, but I just fell in love with this. More so because, not on this first album, but I think from 76 on, those albums like Market and... crap, why am I forgetting the names of some of the albums? I'll think of it down the road, but they had Jaco Pastorius, probably arguably the best bass player ever. So, but going back to the original Weather Report, because there was a lot of lineup changes all over the years. This album is just, if you like jazz fusion or any type of jazz, just put this on, and it's just some most amazing musicianship you'll ever hear. From Milky Way to Orange Lady, Tears, I mean, there's just so many great songs on here. So if you're into that, I'm sure you've heard, if you're into jazz fusion especially, I'm sure you've heard of Weather Report. Go check it out. It's fantastic. My number 9, released on September 24th, 1971, TRex Electric Warrior. Now, I told you, from one extreme to the other, I love me some glam rock music. And the pioneer was Mark Bolan from TRex. Easy. One of my favorite bands was influenced by them, which was the New York Dolls, which are going to appear... two more episodes in 1973. Very high on the list, as I'm sure you'll see. But Mark Bolan, I mean, most people, it's sad because T-Rex and Mark Bolan were huge in England and Europe. Over here, they were just considered like a one-hit wonder with Get It On, Bang a Gong, which is on this album. But there's so much more. I mean, obviously a lot of people know Jeepster, but if you dove into, like, even just go buy a best of T-Rex from Mark Bolan, there's just some great stuff on there. And we lost him way too early to a car accident. Such a shame. But if you like it, if you're into glam rock, or like which was popularized in the 70s, or even new wave morphed from that, go check it out. You'll like it. Moving on to my number 8. Like I said, very eclectic mix just from the first 3 that are going to be on this list. Released on May 21st, 1971, Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, his seminal album. One of the probably arguably one of the most incredible albums ever. Just the title track alone, if you don't know any other songs on there, just the title track alone is iconic. Everybody's heard it, and if you listen to this whole album, it's just an incredible album. You just listen to all the different songs, the messages that Marvin Gaye was trying to convey. Which, if you watch any backstory on this or on Marvin Gaye, that they didn't want him to put this album out because they wanted like the Motown tunes and the quick hits, and this was very political, and he fought to have this made, and boy, would they grow after that, because this album just absolutely exploded, made him even more of a superstar than he already was. So obviously the title track, or Mercy Mercy Me, Inner City Blues, this album is just unbelievable. You put this on. I remember when I first started dating my wife, she was a big Marvin Gaye fan, and we just go on vacation and we just play this. Just front to back all the time. Or Let's Get It On, which is going to appear probably later in this list too. And front to back is just some great music to sit, chill, and just enjoy. And another one we lost way too soon. And what a tragedy too, for those that know how he was killed. My number 7, released on December 17th, 1971. He appeared on my last list. He's going to appear on a lot of these lists. David Bowie's Hunky Dory. Big David Bowie fan. Like I said, go back to T-Rex, glam rock, and I mean, of course, David Bowie started out as glam, and A lot of experimental stuff. He's just one of those people that just morphed into so many different things and just kept reinventing himself. And with every album, it was something you didn't know what you were going to get. It was great. It was just he was one of a kind. I don't think that's probably the best way you could put it. He was a one of a kind person that just kept evolving, right to his last album that he put out right before his death. From the iconic changes on here, Kooks, Andy Warhol, just some really good songs on here. Probably songs that you've heard that you didn't even know were on this album, but go check it out if you're a Bowie fan. And Changes was probably, I'm trying to remember if Space Oddity or Changes were the first. I think Changes, truth be told, was probably the first David Bowie song I heard and loved it. So that's why this album's a little special, because it was like my introduction. And there's a couple albums on this list that were my introduction to those specific bands. My number 6, released in November of 71. I couldn't find an exact date. Some of these didn't have exact dates. Alice Cooper's Killer. Now, Alice Cooper, did he appear on the last list? I forget. I think he did. But big Alice Cooper fan, big Glenn Buxton fan, part of the original Alice Cooper band. What a great guitar player. Influenced one of my favorite guitar players in Randy Rhoads. And this album, same thing. Just great songs. Under My Wheels is probably my favorite on it. And just a great tune. There's Be My Lover, obviously the title track Killer. Just some great classic Alice Cooper from the Alice Cooper band. Go check it out. My number 5, August 2nd, 1971, it was released. And yes, another biggie here. All these next ones are all the big ones. And what could be not just as big as anything is Who. The Who. Who's next? Come on. Just every song on here you're going to hear every day on classic rock. From Behind Blue Eyes to Bob O'Reilly. You're going to hear this album played pretty much in its entirety on any classic rock radio station on a daily basis, and rightly so. Won't Get Fooled Again. I mean, it just reads like it's basically like a best of. It was all new material at the time, but it's like a best of now that you look back at it. Just incredible. Another biggie. Number 4, released April 23rd, 1971. Arguably the most popular, most influential, and probably arguably the best rock band, the Rolling Stones, and Sticky Fingers. And Sticky Fingers is just amazing. Same thing. Just reads front to back like a best of, which was new material at the time. I mean, come on. You just turn on the radio, you're going to hear all these songs. Brown Sugar, you're going to hear it every day. Or Wild Horses, or Can't You Hear Me Knockin'? I mean, and then some odd ones like, Sister Morphine, which you're not going to really hear on the radio, but Sticky Fingers is just amazing. Right down to the album cover itself. So if you remember the actual album, which had the zipper on the pants that you used to unzip, it was just back. Oh God, I missed the days. So that's why it's fun going back and revisiting this. I love the days of albums and vinyl, and it's great to see that it's all coming back, and the whole generation that loves vinyl. And who would have thought vinyl would come back and outsell CDs? Crazy shit. And my number 3, released July 6, 1971, and probably one of my favorite guitar players ever is in this band, the Allman Brothers at Fillmore East. If you're a guitar player like myself and you're not a fan of Duane Allman or Dickie Betts, then you need your head examined. Another person that's on this list that we lost I'm talking way too early. The late great Duane Allman. I mean, from Statesboro Blues to Whippin' Post. Oh, God, just Memory of Elizabeth Reed. Just put this album on. I mean, and this is live. So it's just incredible how good it was. I could have been a fly on a wall to see this. Just amazing stuff from the Allman Brothers. Number 2, you knew this would be on the list. Released November 8th, 1971, Led Zeppelin 4, or however you want to call it, all the mysterious names, Zoso, whatever, but arguably it's called Led Zeppelin 4, and what more do I need to say about this album? It's in everybody's collection. You're going to hear it on classic rock radio every friggin' day. As a guitar player, it was a rite of passage. You had to learn how to play at least the intro to Stairway to Heaven. This whole front to back is just classics. And I think, which I mentioned on my last, when I did 1970, this was the album that introduced me to Led Zeppelin. When I first heard Black Dog, I was like, wow, because I was a Kiss fan already. And I heard Black Dog, and my cousin was playing at his house. I'm like, who the hell is this? It was just amazing. So everything on this album, I mean, I don't even have to tell you. From Misty Mountain Hop to Going to California, just classic. Same thing. It's like this album could be like a greatest hits, but it was all new at the time. Just a lot of these albums, man. That's why I wanted to do this, because I thought going back and looking at this, just crazy how many hits were. And you think about it, it was all new material, and you look back, I was like, wow, what an output from all these classic bands, or just rock and roll. I'll do the same thing like I did on the last episode. When we're done, we'll run down and see who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because a lot of them are there. Some people maybe more than once, depending on who's in the band. But yeah, number 2, Led Zeppelin 4. And my number 1, who topped my last list, as you can tell, it's in my top 3 bands of all time. Released in August of 71. Again, there was no exact date that I could find online, but Black Sabbath. I'm a big Sabbath fan, as you're going to see from this list. Black Sabbath's Master of Reality. Another one is just, I could put it on, just there's no skippers on this album. From Lord of this World to Children of the Grave, Into the Void, one of my favorite songs. And if you like Into the Void, go listen to the Soundgarden cover of it, where Chris Cornell has all different lyrics. I think it was the extra disc that came with Bad Motorfinger, Psalms, I think it was. Go check that out. Just a great version of it. Sometimes I just put the 2 on back to back just to listen to it. There's After Forever on here, Sweet Leaf. Just album is just, you're going to see Sabbath is going to be at the top of most of these lists, or in the top 3, because I'm just a big Black Sabbath fan, always was. And this album too, especially the earlier Sabbath albums, was just so raw and just so crazy. And they were different. They just, they were all dark, of course. They were all heavy, but they all had such amazing lyrics. And shout out to Geezer Butler and God, Tony Iommi, the riff master of all riffs. Christ, where did you come up with all this shit? It was just like a channel. Like, where did you just keep coming up with these damn riffs, man? Incredible. But yeah, those are my favorite, or top. I'm putting top, but favorite albums that were released in 1971. Of course, there's a lot of honorable mentions, but like I said, so let's think back. What bands are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame from this list, just like I did in the first list? So you figure Sabbath is, Zeppelin is, the Allman Brothers are, TRex is, David Bowie is, Alice Cooper is, who else is on the list? I have it written down here. Allman Brothers, of course the Stones are, let's see, Marvin Gaye is. So yeah, I guess the only one out of this list is not in the Hall of Fame, and that would be Weather Report. Yeah, Weather Report's the only band that's not in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, look at that. It just reads like a who's who. It's just incredible stuff. But yeah, let me know your 10. Drop your 10 in the comments below. Let me know, what are your favorite 10 albums? And it could be any genre. Like I said, that's why I'm calling them albums. I'm not saying 10 rock albums or 10 jazz or 10, country albums. 10 albums. What were your favorite from 1971? Drop them in the comments. Do me a favor. If you like this kind of shit, hit that like button. Helps people find this channel. And if you're into horror, you're into comedies and collecting and music and Kiss and all sorts of shit. There's all sorts of shit on the channel. Some podcasts. Check it all out. And if you like it, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Don't cost nothing. Maybe there'll be a lot more of these going, because obviously I was born in 1972, so the next episode is going to be very personal, because it's the first year. That was the year I was born. So let's see what albums came out that I love that year. All right, that's going to be pretty cool. Should do something with movies too. Maybe down the road I'll do favorite movies that came out the year I was born. I see a lot of YouTubers have done that, but that'd be fun to do, because some of them I probably forgot about. But yeah, next episode is going to be a lot of fun. But do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, all that horse shit. Check out the rest of the shit on the channel. Run around the channel. You're bound to step in a lot of shit. And if you like it, come back, subscribe, like, all that stupid shit. So until then, I'll see you from my birth year 10 best list, and in probably a week or so, depending on time. Until then, I'll talk to you soon.